February 13th, Kankakee County Full Board Meeting to order. Today's invocation is from Cole Neckoff.
We're meeting today to conduct matters of business. Please keep our police, fire, and troops out of harm's way. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thoughts, and speech. We meet to serve our community, to use our resources wisely and well, to represent all members of our community fairly, and to make decisions that promote the common good for the people of Kankakee County. We recognize our responsibility to the past and the future, and the rights of both the individuals and the community. As public servants, we seek our blessings on our deliberations today and on our efforts. May we act wisely and well on behalf of our constituents that are here for public comment and those that have entrusted us. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, roll call, please.
Mr. Hess. Mr. Tholen. Mrs. Polk.
Present.
Mr. Snipes. Mr. Seroy. Mrs. Weber.
Present.
Mrs. Parker.
Present.
Mr. Fairfield. Mr. Kirko. Mr. Eckhoff.
Present.
Mr. Swanson. Mr. Featherling. Mr. Dunhill. Mr. Miller. Mr. Long. Mr. Kirkstra. Mr. Hunter. Mr. Smith.
Present.
Mr. Alexander Hildebrand.
Present.
Ms. Foster.
Present.
Ms. Andrade.
Present.
Ms. Armour Earps.
Present.
Mr. Ashcraft. Ms. Monday.
Present.
Ms. Rittmanick-Emmy.
Present.
Mr. Scanlon. Ms. Turner.
Present.
Mr. Wheeler.
Present.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Is there a motion to allow Ms. Rittmanick-Emmy into the meeting remotely? Mr. Scanlon, Mr. Ashcraft with a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under public comment, we have 15 minutes. 9:03. First one is Allison Provost from Kankakee.
My name is Allison Provost. My husband Jaron and I, along with our 4 kids,
It's on.
live directly north of Eagle Island. The island literally is in our backyard. After reading the article in the Daily Journal on January 27, 2024 about the proposed plans for the island, including the quote saying the land could also become a public access point / park as well, we became very concerned about what the future of the island and the adjacent patch of trees would be and how it would affect our daily lives. We feel that the proposed plans would directly affect our privacy, safety, and property value. My husband has spoke to most of the board members or left them messages about what the plans were for the island, and nothing seems to be set in stone, but we still feel that the potential uses for the island would not be in our best interest. If the county would like to obtain access to the river for police, fire, or other purposes, we are more than willing to offer them our private boat ramp access, which can be seen on the handout that was given to you. This would not only allow for a less steep access point for getting into the river, but also allow the money allotted to buying the island to be used for other purposes. The island is currently home to many types of wildlife, including deer, bald eagles, and geese, all of which my children love to view from our living room windows. We chose this as our forever home because of the privacy and beauty of the landscape around us. Having the potential for that all to be changed is something that would drastically affect our lives and cause us to want to leave the home that we've enjoyed for the past 8 years. Thank you.
Next is Nick St. Peter.
Good morning. I'm Nick St. Peter, speaking on behalf of my... Good morning. I'm Nick St. Peter, speaking on behalf of my wife, Brooke, and 2 daughters, Avery and Harper. We would like to express our concerns about the purchase of the Eagle Island and the adjacent tree lot. The tree lot borders the south side of the property just 50 feet from our girls' swing set. According to the article in the Daily Journal, it mentions, quote, stating it would be used for an access point, sand collection site, and could potentially become a public fishing park. After doing some research, we learned that the tree lot could also be used as a place to dump sand in the Aroma Park dredging project. The sand, even if deemed clean, would likely smell and attract varmints. We live in an area with nothing but fields to the west and experience high winds frequently. As soon as the sand dump begins to dry, it will blow everywhere and potentially in my girl's eyes. As far as river access is concerned, the property is 12 to 15 feet straight down to the water. Any kind of river access simply isn't feasible. The land we own to the south would be much better suited for river access, and we'd be more than willing to allow the county to install a boat launch for emergency purposes. We built a home in the country for two reasons: security and privacy, both of which will disappear if there's a county park for fishing and a parking lot just 50 feet from where my kids play. When you have a parking lot, you have a tendency for loitering, and it's not a matter of if it will happen, but when. We don't feel comfortable with our kids playing a couple short steps away from a stranger-filled parking lot. All safety considerations aside, we also own a buildable lot on the south side of the tree lot, so both of our properties will severely diminish in value if a parking lot or a sand collection site is placed right in the middle of it. So for the sake of our family's future, we are politely asking you to reconsider the purchase of this property. Thank you.
Next was David Kiken.
Thank you for this time. I'm a resident of Manteno and still concerned about the Goshen plant. There's a current member of this body that's expressed misgivings about having voted for Project Unity without knowing the specifics. They realize that they've been played. Everyone gets played every now and then. Congress got played to pass the IRA, Inflation Reduction Act. That's where this federal money is coming from. How is this $7.5 billion reducing inflation? Trump got played by Dr. Fauci and the pharmaceutical companies, and they shut down our country. My grandson plays me when he wants to get his way. The current border security bill has tons more money for Ukraine and Israel than for protecting our border. For 3 years, we've been told there is no border crisis. Then all of a sudden it's a crisis. Congress is being played. The green energy thing has our government throwing money at companies to go green without updating our infrastructure, money we don't have. US trillions in debt. Illinois is deep in debt, but they keep throwing money at anything labeled green. The only green is the profits of our politicians. Annette Lamore shared previously the enormity of the $8 billion involved by explaining that it's $3 million per employee based on 2,600 employees. How about this? Just the $536 million that Illinois has kicked in based on 2,600 employees at $55,000 per year, it will take the state at their current 4.95 payroll tax over 75 years to recoup their investment. Oh, but they may be paying other taxes that a corporation pays. Well, Goshen, like any other company, will do anything in its power to reduce their tax burden. Any way that you look at this Goshen thing, it's a bad deal. Do you, as chairman and members of this board, know the estimates of tax revenue coming to our state, county, or village of Manteno? We've all been duped. JB got played by Goshen and his desire to be Mr. Green. Richard Smitty Smith got played by JB. Mayor Nugent got played by Smitty, his master. Then Nugent duped every taxing body without full disclosure to welcoming them. No, actually paying them handsomely. A CCP-owned company to come to Manteno and Kankakee County. Chairman Wheeler and board members, you've been played. I've been told that in order to get change in our government, I need to get involved locally in it. But what I've found is even our local government bodies don't want their citizens to have a voice in their discourse. There is no discussion. We're all just told that it's out of their hands. You don't want to hear the voice of the people.
Next is Bob Forsyth. Forsyth, I think. That's how it's pronounced.
I guess I have a problem with multiple people on multiple boards. Mr. Wheeler, you're on the economic board. There's a few other ones that are on the board here, and I sat and listened to that BS that Nugent was pushing out on that meeting. You guys, Andy, and you're aware of the other building that the plant they're going to put in Diversitech. And the rest of you that are on that planning board, you know about it. Miss Monday, keep smiling. I got you. You got the smirk too. Andy's got it when he rolls his eyes at us. But you need to pay attention when we're speaking. We're supposed to listen to you, and we do. This is your time to listen to us. But I went to that board meeting, and nobody even asked what the other company's going to be, because Tim won't tell us who it is. But it's another company again, just like the Goshen plant, that was pushed by us, and you guys got played. You even had a special meeting for this, and Tim comes running in, and you sign on this. I mean, Andy, you knew about it. You had to know that special meeting was coming ahead of time. Why is it that everybody's on multiple boards and you keep voting for the same thing? And at that meeting, you guys don't even ask questions. Nugent asked for questions, and I was the only one that had a question. And then we get Michael Boyd. How many people are aware of the $12 million grant he's trying to get for KCC for electric batteries? Add all that money up. And Andy, please, when I'm speaking, I appreciate you to look at me, because I don't think you're paying attention to what I'm saying. And in fact, Andy, you have a conflict being on this board and being on that economic board, and the other guys that are on that board too. If you either have to make a choice, it's either this board or that board. It's not two boards. It's not three boards. You know about it, and you're snickering again. And I'm really tired of it. Your time has run out in here, Andy Wheeler. And you need to take some of these other people with you. Because people just vote because they think they're doing the right thing. But they're not voting for what they know is right and what the people want. The people in Manteno and Kankakee County, they don't want that Goshen plant, but you went ahead with it because you did. I obviously know you knew what it was. You knew what it was before everybody voted on this. Because Nugent knew, Boyd knew, the whole economic board meeting, and you lied to the people in here. You lied to your own members and group in here by not telling them what it was. You didn't disclose what it was. I hope that paper's interesting. Because you really pissed me off in here, Andy. Because you don't say a damn thing besides just sit up there.
Sir, could you please watch your language?
Could you pay attention? Why don't you pay attention?
You hear with your ears, sir.
You're not paying attention. You're not writing down stuff and looking at stuff. You need to pay attention to us. And you're not paying attention. So Andy, resign today, along with the other ones that are on that economic board too. You guys just need to go. You think it's funny? It's not. That's when you look at that group that's there. They're out for themselves. This is a money grab. It's exactly what it is. It's like putting in solar farms. What are they? 20%? Have a nice day, Andy. And you too, Miss Monday. Go buy some more stuff from China.
Mr. George, is it Reichert? Waive your time. Ryan McAfee from Mantino? No, sir, you've already done that. Thank you.
All right, good morning, Kankakee County Board. How are you today? All right, I would like for you guys, if you guys can all like turn around and look at me, I'd appreciate that. That's respect. It goes a long way. I guess not. All right, my name is Ryan McKeffey, and I live in Mantino County Board District 6. I have served this nation now for approximately 19 years. I am married and have 5 children, as well as care of my niece and nephew. I have served overseas in combat and have held many different leadership roles. I have seen over the years what nepotism, again, I'm going to say that again, nepotism does to our country and towns. We have 2 types of leadership in this world. We have a true leader who leads from the front, and then we have parasitic leadership. Again, parasitic, it's parasite, which tries to lead from the rear but only sucks the life out of workers and or citizens and points fingers. With that being said, Mr. Ryan Marion, as a Village of Mantino Code enforcer, has a duty to ensure all companies follow Village Code. A lawsuit alleges that Mr. Marion failed in this duty by not speaking against the rezoning of Goshen property from an I-1 to an I-2, that's light industrial to a heavy industrial, and by refusing to answer our question as to whether Goshen would be used as highly toxic chemicals in our community. Through this, we feel he has played a crucial role in bringing the CCP-linked Goshen to Mantino. Again, CCP, that's Communist Chinese Party, which they've been linked to. Marion is not looking out for the best interests of the citizens of Mantino or the Mantino County Board District 6. I can and will represent the voters of District 6, and it is time we listen to the people of Mantino, not the government. For these reasons, I would like to be appointed to the County Board of Mantino District 6, and I will be submitting my application today after this meeting. Thank you very much.
Annette Lamore. That is 15 minutes for public comment. Would you like to extend for how long, Mr. Hunter? There's one more speaker after this. Would it be 2 more, this speaker and the next?
10 minutes.
10 minutes for this speaker and the next? Okay. Is there a second for that? 10 minutes.
Oh.
Dr. Polk, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Annette Lamore, and I live in Mantino. I've lived there all my life. If there is one thing I've learned in the last 6 months, it is this. We can't take our villages, our cities, and government in general for granted. Even if we were voting in every election, it is still not enough. We need to stay informed and pay closer attention to what our elected officials are doing and what projects they are voting for. In Mantino, for instance, local boards and leaders voted yes with no project knowledge because of an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. Now we are fighting for the safety of our citizens and our community because a Chinese communist company called Goshen is threatening the health and safety of the people in our community with dangerous and hazardous chemicals while presenting a national risk to the security of our country. How can this happen? When money and power become the main focus, our leaders forget their oath to protect. Governors, mayors, and village trustees forget to enforce the laws that were set up many years ago to protect us. Our responsibility as good citizens does not end at the voting booth. We need to pay attention. We all need to occasionally attend meetings, and we need to question projects and decisions made by those in charge. And I compliment the people who are here today for another reason, the project with the island in Kankakee. Transparency is a responsibility of our leaders. Backroom deals and hidden agendas are not good for our cities or for our country. When we vote, we need to look for honest people who care about the citizens, not career politicians. How can we respect leaders who put our health and safety at risk and don't even bother to follow village code? In Mantino, we have leaders who have been in office for too long. Their goals have changed. When they voted yes for something that was a secret, even to them, they lost all their accountability. It's time for a change in leadership. There will soon be a vacancy on the Kankakee County Board when Ray Fairchild of District 6 in Manteno resigns, and we thank him for his service. Please consider this before you choose a new appointee. Is it a good idea to bring in someone who already works in village government, whose boss is the mayor of Manteno? His job could be threatened by decisions he makes on the county board. I recommend choosing a good citizen who has been serving our country in the National Guard, a family man who cares about people and is willing to put in the time to make good decisions for our county. That person is Ryan McKeffey, a 37-year-old husband and father of 5 who is respected by his peers. McKeffey will serve and protect the citizens of Kankakee County. Please choose Ryan McKeffey to represent Manteno. Thank you.
And Sharon Calabria from Manteno.
My name is Sharon Calabria, and my husband Joseph and I are here to request that the board appoint Ryan McAfee to represent us in the open county board position of our District 6 in Manteno. I also would like to agree with everything that Annette Lamore just said. I won't repeat everything, but I'm in 100% agreement with her, and I've said so at multiple meetings in Manteno. We're outraged about this Goshen project, and we aren't going away. We're going to make sure that we are paying closer attention to what goes on in Manteno and in Kankakee County. Thank you for your time.
All righty, thank you. The next on the agenda is the purchase of parcels. If you maybe just read the title into the record if it's not too long. Huh?
I don't have the resolution.
You don't have the resolution? No, that was the one, same resolution that said they may change the title of it, but it was in the packet. Terry, do you have a copy of the resolution itself? We have a moment.
I can get a copy.
Yeah, please, and we'll go through him describing the property and all of that, and then we'll have that for us. We don't need a motion yet, so I'd rather the motion reflects the will of the board rather than anything else. So please, yeah, if you could load that up. Delbert's going to talk about the what a little bit, and I'll explain the why when this property fell in our lap, then we went to the 2 committees we went to ask if they wanted us to move forward on this. So Delbert, if you would kind of run through, please. And you have a paper copy, and there's on the screen.
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, when will you afford us opportunity to pose questions to you?
I would say ask Delbert all the why or the what questions about, you know, the floodplain, all of that kind of stuff, property lines, all of that. The why, you can ask me and stop me when I'm doing that when I take over, please.
Thank you.
All right, we're ready? Good morning, everyone. On your agenda today is the purchase of Eagle Island and also another 1.2 acre parcel just on the side of Eagle Island Road. Pictured on the screen here is a fairly recent photograph of the island itself. You can see this is how it looks throughout most of the year. Summertime it gets a little greener. The Kankakee River's main channel is to the background of the photo. There is a channel between the main bank to the island. It's kind of narrow, probably about 20-30 feet wide. Here's another angle of the island, a little better view of the channel. If you look all the way to the through the trees, you can see the houses at Buckman's Resort on the other side of the river. So there are several houses in the area there. Kelly, I think you're going to have to advance the slides. This doesn't seem to be working. Oh, there we go. Now, there's a mainland parcel. I like to call it the mainland parcel. It's not part of the island. This is on the west side of Eagle Island Road. You can see it's the one with the trees on it. The property line is just to the right of the trees there. The island used to be a restaurant, and I believe this parcel served as the parking lot for that restaurant. There's another view of it. Mostly scrub brush. This one is 1.2 acres, 1.4. Has a lot of what we call volunteer trees. These are trees that weren't planted, they just grew up over time. I think the restaurant stopped being there somewhere in the 1970s, so it's been sitting vacant since then. The county board paid to have an appraisal done on the properties, and that came back to be valued at $63,000 for both properties combined. Here's an overhead view. As you can see, the island is that long strip in the middle of the river. The mainland parcel is over there to the left, and there's a strip of land between Eagle Island Road and the river that is also part of the mainland parcel. The island itself is in the floodway. That is the most restrictive floodplain that there is. The mainland parcel, the part west of Eagle Island Road, does not have any floodplain on it. There is floodplain between the road and the river, though. Here's a little bit of the topography on it. Kind of hard to read, but I think it ranges from about 604 on the island on up to about 612 on the mainland parcel. The base flood elevation is 611.4 in that area. So the entire island is under the base flood elevation. This is wetlands, which are governed by the Army Corps of Engineers. The entirety of the Kankakee River is a designated wetland, but no part of the island is a wetland, and no part of the mainland parcel is a wetland. However, because there's a wetland within 25 feet of it, it is restrictive as to what you can do with the island. It would require Army Corps of Engineer permitting to do anything there. Here's kind of an overall map. It's got a little more information. Both parcels are zoned A1 agriculture and have been since we started zoning in 1967. There is the two red squares there is the piers for an old pedestrian bridge that connected the two parcels together. The bridge is no longer there. The piers are still in the water. That's how I guess they accessed the restaurant when there was a restaurant there. What else we got? Okay, yeah, so already covered the floodplain and the wetlands, all right. So outlined in red here, if someone were to utilize that mainland parcel, outlined in red is the buildable area. There's not a lot of buildable area there, but there is some. So it is not an unbuildable parcel. I did not calculate the acreage on that, but it's probably about a half an acre that might be buildable. And I think this is where you take over, Andy?
Yeah, if we could back up maybe just a couple of slides. Yeah, leave her there. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Delbert about the actual zoning and use, any processes involved if somebody were to want to do something out there, the height of basically what could people build, anything about the property? Any board members? Mr. Hunter?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I don't hope to open up Pandora's box at all by virtue of my questions. And maybe this is maybe a macro question that the chairman and Delbert could respond, or any other official in this room. You know, the chairman has indicated that this particular parcel of property was a strategic asset acquisition, a unique phrase. This is, I think, what needs to be addressed, because from previous discussions on this matter, this particular room was absent of any people from the Eagle Island area or any people who had adverse comments about the proposed purchase. I need to know, for my own information, what are the new issues or facts which have arisen since the last discussion on the purchase of this property. Also, and that's quite a question, and factors pro and con against the purchase of the property. I've heard some of the people from the area articulate some reasons. If anybody else has any other comments, pro, con, or whatever, adverse to the purchase, let me know. Additionally, rumors versus facts of the Eagle Island purchase. The rumors were that it's going to be a dumping location for sand versus whatever the facts may be. What was before us previously, there was not really substantial discussion regarding potential use. It was a question of a strategic asset acquisition, not the other potential uses 10, 5, whatever years down the road. So let me go back again. What new issues or facts have arisen since the last discussion on this matter? Factors against and for the purchase, and rumors versus facts on the Eagle Island acquisition.
Okay. I've also heard a lot of rumors and a lot of speculation, and I'm really not going to speak to those. What I will speak to is the fact that anything short of leaving it as is will require permitting from IDNR, Army Corps of Engineers, possibly the IEPA, depending on what is proposed, and depending on the use, zoning change.
So essentially what you're saying then, based on the rumors that have transpired regarding a dump and so forth, regarding sand and so forth, there'd have to be public hearings that would address those potential uses.
Yes, that would be something that a future board, possibly this board, depending on who's still sitting here, would have to determine in the future. Okay, that is not determined today. As far as I know, there's nothing determined about how exactly it will be used. No engineering has been done. Step one would be to acquire the property. Step two, determine what you would use it for. Step three, get engineering done. Step four, apply for permits and zoning. We are at step one.
And usually, if I could, step 1A is you start to look for funding sources to be able to do what you may propose, because why would you propose something you can't do? And usually in this area where it's access, there's a lot of grants. And one of the first questions asked is do you have control of the property? So, and when you say no, they say come back and see us when you do. So am I wrong in any of that assessment?
No, that is correct.
Okay.
In almost all instances, yes.
Mr.
Chairman,
Hess?
yeah.
Mr. Hess? Oh, follow up? Is there a follow up on
Yeah,
that? And
really,
then Mr.
actually,
Hess.
what have you heard in terms of rumors versus facts?
I'm not going to get into that.
Okay.
The only fact is it was us buying a strategic asset. If anything, that I would apologize for. I get energized and excited to talk about the river and possibilities, and doing nothing is one possibility. It's why I joined the board. You know, those houses over there on Buckman's, I lived out there for about 5 years. It's one of the reasons I ran for this seat, is because I got flooded out of my house so much I couldn't live there anymore. This matters to me. It's not like I'm just trying to dump on somebody. I got to stare at that island out my back window for that whole time. I felt like I lived in Wisconsin. And we used to walk across the river there. And can't jet ski because there's so much sand in there. So I know you're not looking at somebody who doesn't know that area intimately. So and all we're talking about was a strategic asset. That's it. So Delbert is Mr. Hess, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chairman. There's been a barn, I believe it's a 3-car garage or pole barn to the south of that residence. Mm-hmm. And then there's a jungle gym or play area and everything in there too. It's pretty close to the property.
Yeah, that was on one of those images in the front. I believe.
Yeah, might have been. That aerial photo is from 2020. I don't think any of that was there. We can go back and see. That's the best picture I have of the
Yeah, that's what you're getting
property
at
to the
there.
north.
That's one with a barn.
I think that's the pole barn in the distance.
Correct.
Yeah. And then the next slide is, that's the other part, we'll call the old parking lot.
Yes, that's about middle way of that parcel.
Well, it's the new parking lot too. You went out
Well,
there and found a bunch of cars.
Yeah, there was
parked
like
there.
5 or 7 trucks parked out there a couple weekends ago.
Who was it?
Saturday. Huh?
Who was it?
Talking to, when I called the neighbors to address their concerns, one of them said it was his buddy's trucks.
Did they say what they were doing out there?
Hunting, I believe. Hunting club, hunting.
Okay, thank
Gun
you.
club.
So they don't want people parking there except themselves,
Well, that
currently.
you can make your own conclusions for that.
Interesting. Okay, we'll keep going then. Is there any more questions about the what? The zoning and all of that? I'm gonna get into why this location, or how it came to us, and then why this location. Miss Monday.
I think this may be the what. So what happens if, in fact, we've heard both families today express that they would provide river access if that's one of the big deals on why we need this property. So what happens if that becomes a thing? There's, I'm assuming, legal issues involved there. We have to purchase property from them to do that, or how does that work? Do you have any idea?
What's that?
Am I allowed to do a point of order? Is there a parliamentarian here? Because that's not part of the business on the agenda. We're negotiating another contract while we already have a contract with another seller.
But this
So
may
I
make
would
a
be very
difference.
careful right now to start talking about negotiating with another landowner. I may be wrong, Mr. Rowe. We're starting to get into a really hairy area here.
This is unreal. I would stay away from any other contract negotiations. I don't think that it's an issue if you bring them up or if they even exist, but to the extent you can stay away from it.
Meaning we can't use it?
I guess my comment is you don't have access until it's written down in a contract that provides you access. So we'd be negotiating another contract right now.
No.
And I'm not gonna do that.
No, and I'm not asking for that.
Yeah. Is there
Just asking the question.
another way to ask it maybe? You see where I'm going with that?
I
don't
do,
wanna
I
that.
understand. We're not into negotiating for other properties at this moment in time. I'm just wondering, what is the process legally, if anyone can address that? Since that has been offered as a potential
There you go.
gift
That
or,
would have to be explored. Like if someone came to the county and said, we're offering to lease you space, right? You'd have to explore what is the cost,
right,
is it a fair value?
right, okay,
And fully negotiate that.
okay.
Mr. Snipes.
Thank you. The objection that leads to the what is that the objection is not the purchase of the property, but rather what the proposed use of the property will be. And it appears as if you are stating that in your next segment, you're going to explain to us how this is, or why this particular property is beneficial to the county. And I want that kind of in the terms of, because I heard the word strategic, and when I hear the word strategic, that deals with some type of planning or some forethought. So because individuals have concerns because they live there, and rightly so, we need to make sure that they thoroughly understand that the purchase of this property will not result in any type of dump or anything else. So I'll be interested and reserve any other questions until I kind of hear why we're going to purchase it and what we plan to do with it in this strategic, that's the word, operative word that you all use, as to the future of this particular property. So I'll digress until I hear otherwise, but I do want to hear what the proposed use strategically is for this property.
I'll go to Mr. Eckhoff next, but we kind of has the inference that it's somebody else than just me. Okay? That's you too. I hear a lot of we that ends up being me.
Well,
So
we didn't.
if you have a different vision, anyone, please, we'll hear about it at
Do
some
I wanna
point.
hear?
Please, I've been waiting. 3 decades, right? So now we're into the other part where I'd like to at least discuss why, when this was put to us, why it went through committees, okay? And why Ms. Armour was not involved in those committees. So originally, and do you want to explain how you brought it to our attention, and then how I got out of the way and you dealt with the state's attorney's office? Thank you.
I am a realtor with Speckman Realty. I got this property about maybe 6 to 7 months ago. I did bring it to both owners that were here today, letting them know that it was for sale. At that point, I did not hear anything from them. We had it on the market for about 6 months. Had some people interested, not a lot, so I contacted the state attorney's office and I contacted the county board president and said that this property might be a great opportunity for the county, whether or not for the county or for the state attorney's nonprofit organization. At that point, Andy Wheeler contacted me and said he would be interested in this, and that's how we would move forward.
So, does everybody get that? That's how the opportunity came to us. That's why she was not involved in the conversations, because that would not have been proper at that point. At this point, you know, she's represents the seller. Okay, state's attorney's office represents us. I don't. We don't have an agent. They are our agent. Okay, so if we could, we'll start this. This right here is the 40-year work plan. Okay, if you don't know what that is, you should. That's what the state of Indiana both developed and adopted, and we paid our money to be part of and include Kankakee County, Illinois, for a work plan on addressing sedimentation and other issues in the river. Okay, I believe we paid $25,000 or $30,000 to be included in this. If you flip the next slide, please. Is there another bottle of water up here? Sorry, yeah, I feel like Marco Rubio. Sorry. So the active management recommendations, this is all part of our section specific to Kankakee County, was reduce the sediment and the supply, you know, we see that, and then also the zone-specific access and logjam management. So this isn't just, as Amanda, you know, kind of alluded to, it's not me just weighing in, Andy's not interested in it. It fits into what the engineers and what the people in Indiana, we are doing this work on the stabilization of the banks in Indiana. So I'm speaking from a place that most people don't realize what's going on over there. Real progress. You can see the bottom of the river again. It's not all muddy, sandy. It's they're rebuilding slopes, carving them back. These are things that we need to do here in order to keep our soil out of the water. It's just not Indiana stuff that's flowing into here. It's our own stuff. And so we could, Matt, could you flip to the next? Oh, you got it. Sorry.
Does that speak to the bank restoration stuff too?
I'll get to that in a second here. So this is one section that I just called out on stream bank stabilization, and there's a whole section in here about the places that are the most at risk, are currently dumping silt mostly into the river. Go to the next slide, and lo and behold, just to the left of that yellow box is Eagle Island. There's Moments, Sun River Terrace down to the left. Those banks are severely eroded and have been targeted for bank stabilization work, okay? Which means stop it from caving in. I can tell you it's a real problem out there. People use riprap. It's better than nothing, but it creates little hydrojets. So when the water comes through, it just digs out more sediment and deeper. What needs to be done is stabilization using a method that has already been approved by the Army Corps and everybody else, long-rooted systems for plants, things like that. Again, I'm not basing this on what I think, I'm basing it on what's being done. So we can go to the next slide. There's another area down by Sun River Terrace that needs to be stabilized as well. So it kind of shows you a little bit, and I'll just actually, it's on a different slide, so I will go to the next one here. I'll point it out. Who remembers this? We acquired this land for access into the river right at I-57 because you can't get an amphibious excavator under a bridge. They're too big. So you need for this area to work the river going all the way back, log jams, everything we said we got to do. Thank you, Kelly, very much. The log jams and everything else that could be in that other area. It could be whatever the impediment is, banks, whatever, that future boards for the next 20, 30 years. We're not getting in the bed, we're making the bed right now. I hope that makes sense. So we spent time over the past years acquiring these properties, pardon me. Why? Access points. The word is access. It's not to be construed of anything else but that. So the next slide, we had 5 properties in this area. This is Laurel Lane. I want to say Fisherman's Wharf, Skeeters, Tierra Del Mar, the office now. That's the restaurant up in the corner there. We had 5. We said, well, we only want to do 3 and then we'll see, you know, how it goes and all that. And then the other 2 properties went away, no longer available. So we could have had that whole area, all that area linked up, but now there's a rebuilt house in that area. You know, so I just to mention, there is a cost on waiting. Okay, so when you don't have access and you don't have a property that's for sale, you are begging, borrowing, stealing, and repairing people's property to drive an excavator across their lawn if they let you do it. So if it's not in writing, it's not a deal. I hope you understand why I had that position earlier. So the next slide, we actually spent money with an engineering firm, Burke Engineering, it's kind of blocked out at the top there, to take a look, what's it gonna cost to do this work plan here in Kankakee County? And so if you flip a couple of them, here's the original proposal. There's the stream bank stabilization. I don't know why it's so hard to say that. But we actually asked for costs on that. We spent money having this put together. My estimations were well over $150,000 to $200,000 into access points into the river, okay? So when this came up, it was perfect because we have nothing between, and I'll show you here, between 17. So that little star down there is Laurel Lane. If you notice, up to the right of Moments is all the River Conservancy District area. We have no authority to do any work in that area whatsoever. Everything has to be approved by that organization because they're a legislative body that they voted for back, I think, in the 50s. There's access points up there. So if we want to partner and do stuff and they allow it and they want us to do something and we want to go there, we meaning a future board, not me, then there is already access up in that area. There are some better spots like on the North Channel that I think that should be looked at, but that's not part of what we're doing. I failed to mention also we went to an engineering firm and we now have a proposal. It is to build these boat ramps in these key strategic areas to get into the river because you can't, again, drive or really barge trees under bridges that are, you can't even get, you know that, you can't get a boat under the bridge at 17. I mean, if you're lucky, you're pushing up one side of your pontoon and everybody runs to the other side and then you push up the other side to go float up, you know, so believe me, I've been there. And then you have the ladder get pulled off and have to explain that to some people. Anyway, so the next slide would be, there's Baker, I call it Baker Creek because some of the best catfishing was always at the mouth of Baker Creek. And you got Laurel Lane and you got I-57. You also have, that's why we invested in spending the money on the boat launch at Beckman Park because we need to get in at Beckman Park on that whole stretch. That's why we did the boat ramp in Aroma Park because we need to get in the river and do that stretch. We are investing and partnering with people to get into the river to do the work that everybody, well, I can't say everybody because I thought most people in finance wanted to approve this, but we'll see that that's not the case anymore. So this is why we're doing what we're doing is because we have planned to do just this. And we have talked about this for 2 years and it takes forever. And it will take 2, 3, 4 years if there is an intended use down the road for this property. I mean, it just does, you don't walk out there and start pulling stuff out. So the next thing would be, the next slide, please. We have no county access between the 2 bridges. That's why this property is here. And I know intimately what's wrong there with that whole stretch. So I think that was the last slide that I have. I can't speak to hypotheticals, and I won't anymore. Yes, sir.
I'd like to, when we talk about access points, we're talking about driving equipment into the, down into the river through ramps or however we're gonna do it. This piece of property has a, I don't know, 10, 12 foot, 45-degree angle going down to the water, and the road is right there. I mean, you go up to the top of the hill, you have 3 feet of grass, and then you have the rock, and then you have the road. There's not a lot of room to angle anything or, cut anything at an angle. Getting a pipe, it's way too high up in the air to pump for a sand collection system.
I'm sorry, what is the sand collection system you're talking about?
I don't know.
Where's that at?
You mentioned that before, for a use for this someday. You said
along
someday.
with nothing.
50 years from now.
Along with nothing was another use.
Okay, yeah, along with nothing is another use. You got that right. So I don't understand what the thing was. The property across the street. What are you gonna do there? You can't. There's not room to really build anything, do anything.
I'm sorry, sir. I don't follow. Property across the street.
The piece, whichever one is on the opposite side of the river.
Because they're being sold as one property. You can't split them off.
Well,
that's why.
But they're listed as two, so different parcels.
Right. The seller is selling them together or nothing.
And
that's to answer your question.
Thank you for the good presentation on the river project that we've been working on for 3-4 years, or 15 years, or 20. But in that case, I'd like to make a motion that we do not purchase this property.
Is there a second to the no, Mr. Hess? All right. Is there any other? Mr. Smith, do you have comment?
I was just going to piggyback on what Mr. Featherling said. I think he covered everything.
Yes, Mr. Eckhoff.
Thank you.
You know what? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah, well, 10 minutes. Thank you, though, Mr. Chairman. To Mr. Hunter's point that I was going to go out and clarify to you earlier, the difference between finance and now, and I apologize for my voice, I have a cold, is that the people that live next door are not for this. So those are my constituents. So that's why I'm not voting for this, is because they live next door. They're going to have to go ahead and deal with whatever the possibility is in the future. It may not be this board in the next 7.5 months, but it's a possibility in the future that could go ahead and disrupt their way of life. Thank you.
Ms. Parker.
Thank you. I also live along the river, and I know a lot of the people who have been contacting me about this. I have to support them because it's changing their lifestyle. They bought the property for just that, privacy. I want to see the river flow more than anybody else because I live across from Laurel Lane there. We need to do something with that, but not at the expense of the people that live in that area. So I have to support the families that live there, and I'm voting no.
Anyone else? Mr. Snipes.
Okay, so it's been my experience that when people have incorrect information, they'll use their imagination to disseminate misinformation. This is why I took the time to listen. The county position was for the purpose of purchasing the property for access, not to create a dump, not to basically dig up the sand, because I don't think you will get a excavator, anything big enough to utilize that area. I am concerned when the individuals are, and I have read and in some cases responded, I don't want the aesthetics to be disturbed. If it stays in its natural habitat and it's and all we're utilizing it for is assets, then I would say the county, I would be for the county to purchase the property, because again, like with in diaper times, we have done it before to basically have assets we purchased along, just in case there's going to be a river walk all going expanded. So we have to think future generations. What I don't want is that Cause, and I think, Delbert said it, if we purchase the property, we're purchasing for assets. If they're going to use it, if I'm understanding it correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, if they're going to use the property, then you have to go through the process, through the EPA, IP, or whoever it is, and then they have to have permits, they have to other things in order to deal with special use for that particular purpose. If I'm understanding, this is only for the purchase of the property for assets. That I have no objection. But if it becomes a sand trap or a dump, that will have to be another process. And at that time, if I find out that that's the case, then yes, I'm going to vote no. But for the purpose of purchasing the property, for us to have assets, I don't see that there should be any objection to that. Only if there's going to be any other type of use after that, where the people themselves, because if I'm understanding, anytime they pull a permit or whatever they're going to do, they have to let the residents know within a certain area or whatever, and they have to send it certified mail and all that. Am I correct?
You are correct, sir.
Thank you. So at this point, I think we're putting the cart before the horse, and that is we're saying no to a purchase of a property or whatever that we can have access to. I'm not objecting to the county purchasing a property for the purpose of assets. However, in the future, if it came to the point that the people were not notified and you was going to build something that's going to be adverse, then at that particular point in time, they will have my ear and I will be on their side if it changes the ambiance or the aesthetic. But my understanding now is this is just for the purchase of the property. So for that purpose, I will say that the county, it would be in the best interest, because I see the access points, that we do it only for the purpose of purchasing property for assets.
Is there any other comment? Mr. Carrico first.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. You know, I am in favor of improving the river and river access and everything else. And I have personally visited the location a few days ago, I think it was last week. And my voting decision here will be based on how I believe that, and after being evaluating this situation, how can this properly be used by the county and also to benefit the residents of this county now and also in the near future. So I just want to make clear that when my time comes to vote, that is based on me seeing the property and see how we can, you know, utilize this properly right now and how can we use that in the future. Thank you.
Ms. Foster, did you have something? I thought.
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment. You know, the word future can be a very scary word, but I think what we're doing is trying to prepare and be prepared. And purchasing this property is being prepared, and we shouldn't be afraid of that. The other thing is that the river floods, and we've seen that. You know, the climate has changed, and we're just getting ahead of things so that we can be prepared for the future, and we shouldn't be afraid of that. So I'm voting yes to purchase this property. It was available for 6 months. If the residents wanted to get together and pool their money together, they could have bought the property. The property is not where you could build anything on it. So the property is going to be vacant, but the property will give us access to the river. And that is one of our prime jewels of Kankakee County. Thank you.
It occurs. Delbert, there's a contract for this property to be sold if we turn this down, so I'm told. So I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I'm not negotiating. But if somebody does purchase this, what's the process if they want to build on the island?
Exactly the same one as ours.
So they'd have to build up over the floodplain that they could put solar panels, or
they would have to give us designs. They would have to get all the proper permitting from not only the county but all the state and federal agencies that would be required.
So somebody else could do exactly what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Yes, Ms. Earps.
I need to verify there is no other contract at this time on this property.
Oh, there isn't.
There is not at this time.
At this
right
time.
now, my seller is only working with the county at this point. Just need to make that clear.
Okay, I'm sorry, there were some phone calls from objectors that said differently.
Okay, I just need to make verification.
All right, thank you. Any other thoughts? It's of little consequence to me, is I just wanted the board to know you have to find access in this stretch of the river, that there is no unowned property, if you will. So, we leapt at it, and if it passes, it passes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You just know the future work that the board has, and then you still have to determine what you want to do all the other places along the river. So nothing has changed. Just gathering the assets to start projects that will go for 40, 50 years. Okay. Anything else?
Yes, I'd like to ask a question.
Yes, Dr. Pope.
The property owners, would they like to buy the property?
We shouldn't really be questioning the audience. That would be improper. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I just would hope that it doesn't go into a use that we don't like. But anyway, that being said, it is so if you vote yes, you're voting no against the purchase. Does that make sense? It's always, yeah, exactly. It's easier if you make the motion to purchase and then you vote no, because then it's easier to, but if you are voting, let me say it again. If you vote yes, it means you're voting against buying. I need to repeat that again.
Yes.
If you vote, because the motion was made to not purchase, so you're agreeing with the motion to not purchase, if that is your vote.
Yes, we would like to purchase
Thank you.
John, and who's second?
Second time, yes, Mr. Featherling.
Should we be reading the property index numbers in here or whatever? You guys just take it off the agenda?
He read the title in the record, didn't he?
I didn't.
Not yet? Oh, okay. Yeah, if you want to read the title in the record. I'm sorry, thank you.
Resolution of the County Board of...
Oh, that's right, we didn't have it. Yeah.
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County, Illinois, authorizing the County Board Chairman to proceed with the purchase of real estate.
Yep. All right, we had a motion to not approve. We ready? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mr. Tholen. Mrs. Polk.
Nay.
Mr. Snipes.
No, nay.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico.
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff.
Aye.
Mr. Swanson.
Aye.
Mr. Featherling.
Aye.
Mr. Dunhill.
Nay.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Kirkstra.
Aye.
Mr. Hunter.
If I might preface my vote by saying that, understanding the comments made by my fellow board members of Fulton, Eckhoff, and Robert Snipes.
It's out of order.
I understand their concerns.
Microphone, please.
I'm sorry. I understand their concerns, and I think they articulated those very well. With respect to, I'm a purist when we're speaking to a purchase of a strategic asset. That's the only thing that we were dealing with, not any future use whatsoever. I heard the comments of Allison Provost. I got communication from her. I've heard scuttlebutt with respect to what may be proposed. That was not before us. That's not before us. What's before us is the purchase. And it appears from the way the vote is going thus far that it will be voted down. Dobert has articulated, Snipes has articulated that there are other regulatory agencies, and I'm putting cart before the horse in a way, as Snipes indicated. I would concur with Colton with respect to his constituents at some future use in terms of sand collection and all that kind of stuff. That would be before the IDNR and other governmental units. I don't listen to the stuff versus facts. I deal with data versus facts. The matter that we're voting for today is the acquisition, not future use. I hear the comments of those individuals who are here. I understand that. I would be with them if I'm around on this board, or if I'm still alive. I would support them in terms of the things that they are objecting to. But my vote is purest in terms of the acquisition of a strategic asset. Nothing else. I agree with the constituents. I agree with Colton. I agree with Snipes. But you know, there's.
Is that a nay, Mr. Hunter? I have to rule. Somebody finally said point of order.
Yeah.
I can't.
I was trying to be respectful, but
Yeah. Okay. And therefore, you know.
Actually, Mr. Colt, you have to address me. I'm the one who says yea or nay. I'm sorry, you're not the chairman. You cannot direct another board member.
I don't want any confusion. My vote is no.
Thank you.
I was siding with the point of order on your point.
I understand that.
Why
Mr.
so
Chairman.
aggressive?
Huh?
Why so aggressive?
Mr. Chairman, okay, we'll go ahead and finish the vote, then we can go ahead and talk about it.
Mr. Smith.
Under new business, if I choose to.
All right. Come on, guys. Come on, guys.
Mr. Alexander.
Aye.
Ms. Foster.
No.
Ms. Andrade.
Aye.
Ms. Armour Earps.
I will not be voting.
Abstain. Mr. Ashcraft.
Aye.
Ms. Monday.
Aye.
Ms. Ripmanick-Emmy. Is she still present?
No.
She's gone.
Mr. Scanlon.
Aye.
Ms. Turner.
No.
Mr. Wheeler.
Nay. So that motion carries. Did you vote, Mr. Smith? Okay,
Yes.
she asked. I thought I don't think we missed anybody. All right, moving on. The vacancy appointments. I think, did we include the letter in the packet? Or I think I received a letter from Mr. Fairfield announcing his resignation. The letters were sent to the two political parties, so I just need a motion to accept the resignation of Mr. Fairfield, Mr. Hunter, Mr. Scanlon.
So hold on one second. So
and declare the seat open.
Yeah, so what is the date of his effective date of his resignation? Is he resigning as of?
It was a Friday, I believe. 16th, yeah, 16th. I sent it down.
So he's not yet resigned.
Exactly.
Okay, so there's no vacancy yet. So
no, the vacancy will occur on the 16th.
So the vacancy occurs on the 16th. That's what triggers. Then the board would declare the vacancy because there has to be a vacancy to declare the vacancy. You can't declare it if someone's still occupying it. So following his resignation on the 16th, the board would then declare the vacancy. That would trigger the 60 days and then the 3 days notice to the two established parties. You have to have a vacancy before you can declare the vacancy. So if he's not resigning effective today, if he's in that seat still until Friday, the board would likely have to have either a special board meeting to declare that vacancy, which then triggers the issuance of those letters, starts the 60 days running, or I can look and see if you could take it up at your March meeting, but then you'd really be cutting in substantially to that 60 days. So this is announcing the resignation, but the board need not take any action. The board also does not have to vote to accept the resignation. A resignation is effective by nature of the individual resigning.
So if you don't want to vote to accept it, then that's fine. That's where we were at. Mr. Snipes?
I had occurred with the state's attorney.
Holy cow. I hope that's on recording.
Only because this issue came before, and there's a 2009 Supreme Court case that we have to follow that basically states that it's the date is not We don't have to approve the resignation or anything, but it is at the point that we declare the vacancy, and that's on the date that the individual resigns, where the date of vacancy then occurs, and then we have to follow suit. So he's not, I mean, he's speaking from good law. 2009 Supreme Court that was brought to the attention because we had this issue before. So
Let me get this
just want to say,
Just say you're okay with it.
no, and the foundation of why I am okay with it. The Supreme Court has spoken, Illinois Supreme Court.
All right, so,
Kept it under 2 minutes.
we'll have to have a $3,000 meeting. Yes, about that? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Is now the time to say anything, or should we wait till we do the meeting when we accept the resignation? If you have something you want to say.
About Ray?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fine, yeah. I would, you know what, if we gotta have a special meeting just for that, why not save it?
Okay, we'll save it, okay.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or both. I think he's in a car on his way to Florida, so. Looks like we have a proclamation. If we could, Miss Foster wanted to actually read this, if we could, into honoring Black History Month. So if we'll turn it over to her. Is there a motion to approve the proclamation? Let's just start with that. Mr. Hunter, Mr. Swanson, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Proclamation honoring Black History Month. Whereas during this month, we honor the contributions of African Americans who have shaped our nation, our state, and our country land. Whereas this contribution have come through centuries of struggles, preservation, and triumphs. And whereas the origin of Black History Month began in 1915, half-century after the 13th Amendment abolished slavery in the United States of America. And whereas Carter G. Woodson established the first week in the month of February to recognize the accomplishments of African Americans, February is also the birth month of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. And whereas the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People was established on February 12, 1909. Whereas the President Gerald Ford in 1976 extended the week to a month for recognizing African American accomplishments and unsung patriots' legacies. And whereas the contribution of African Americans from all walks of life and their endeavors to learn and thrive throughout history make unforgettable marks in our nation as artists, scientists, educators, business people, and influential thinkers, members of the faith community, athletes, and political and government leaders reflect the greatness of the United States. And whereas the Kankakee County Board observes and honors Black History Month and acknowledges the courageous fight for the rights, liberties, and freedoms for all Americans. And now, therefore, it's proclaimed that the Kankakee County Board continues to observe and honor the month of February as Black History Month and recognize the contributions made by African Americans. Passed and proclaimed this 13th day of February 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Foster. We appreciate that. And sorry, I was just looking at the next item on the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. I lost our way here. Certificates of Appreciation. Bob LaLuna. Is Bob here today? Ah, Greg. I'm sure Greg has a very verbose and profound, long dissertation on the exploits of Bob over the 30 years.
First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming and showing up to
wished her well wishes to Bob for 30 years, including all those out in the audience.
That's why they're here.
But anyway, on March 1st, Bob will be celebrating his 30th year with the Highway Department. The first 17 years he was a mechanic, worked on the equipment. The last 13 he has been the fleet service operations manager, which meant he handled everything. And there's probably a few things that you don't know what everything is that he does. I'm going to let you know, but luckily the list is short. We have 7 buildings that comprise the Highway Department. They're scattered mostly on the south bank of the Kankakee River between East Avenue and Schuyler. We have our office and a shop, another shop, a building across East Avenue or Water Street, another building there, and then there's our yard down at East Avenue down by the Homestead Restaurant. He makes sure those stay in one piece, and they're not very new buildings, so he's doing a heck of a job keeping water off our heads and the rats out of the building. One thing I'll bet a lot of you people don't know is we own a gas station right down on Schuyler, right at Water Street. If you've bought gas for a county vehicle, more than likely it's through our gas station, and guess who maintains it and keeps it running, keeps the fire marshal happy with the state. It's not new, but it's working good. This guy made sure it happened. Equipment wise, he is also in charge of making sure we get equipment that we can go out and maintain the roads. He scours all the websites, whether it be state bid, government surplus, and there's a couple other cooperatives that I don't know the names of, but when we're looking for equipment, he knows all the avenues to look for that. And for instance, he found some government surplus, a wrecker that we've used to pull a few of our vehicles out of the ditches after we would have to rely on private companies and their schedule and their prices. We decided we'll get a wrecker and do it ourselves, and it's worked out great. Another item he found off a government surplus is we have a tanker. We use it for a couple different purposes. In the summer we'll fill water up and spray down our patching, so when we patch a road we get it cool and we can go home. We don't have to sit out there till the asphalt gets somewhat hard. In the winter we fill it with salt brine, and we can use that to spray on our bridges to keep on the first set of bad weather that doesn't hit on the bridge and start creating an icy situation. The brine melts it and keeps it, buys us some time till we're out there plowing the roads and can make it good. So that's pretty much it, and tried to keep it short, but I'm glad to have Bob here, and I've only been here a couple years, but he's saved me a lot of times just by his knowledge and what he knows about everything we've got going on, and I hope he's here for 30 more, or at least until I retire, whichever comes first.
Do you have any comments, Bob? Please.
Just real quick. I was blessed 30 years ago to start here. Love my job. And I want to thank you for having me.
You hear Bob's name come up a lot, and that's usually rare for people who aren't causing trouble. And he's it's always for the good reason. So thanks for all your help and everything you do down there. Minutes. What do they call it? We're up the hill. Are you down the hill down there in the highway department? Is that how that works? I I know what you guys call us, but I don't look at you down the hill. Minutes of the last meeting, January 9th, 24. Is there a motion to approve? Ms. Earps, Ms. Turner with the second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed,
Aye.
same sign. Motion carries. Claims Committee reports.
Mr. Chairman and members of the County Board, your Committee on County Claims would beg leave to report they have examined the following claims presented and recommend payment. The clerk is hereby authorized and directed to issue orders to the several claimants. Total monthly claims for December 2023, $8,890,643.83.
Motion to approve, Mr. Dunhill, second, Mr. Swanson. That's roll call on that.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Yes, present.
Mr. Snipes.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Kirko. Mr. Eckhoff. Mr. Swanson. Mr. Featherling. Mr. Donnell. Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Long. Mr. Kirkstra.
Aye.
Mr. Hunter. Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Alexander.
Aye.
Ms. Foster. Ms. Andrade. Go on. Ms. Armour Earps. Mr. Ashcraft.
Aye.
Ms. Monday.
Aye.
Mr. Scanlon.
Aye.
Ms. Turner.
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. Under department reports. Give me the record, please. Thank you.
County Collector's Monthly Report for December 2023, total cash and bank and investments of $496,288.93. County Treasurer's Monthly Report for December 2023, tax operating account First American Bank, ending balance $479,032.48. Tax collection account for First American Bank, ending balance $556.46. Tax e-pay account at First American Bank, ending balance is $4,615.13. Coroner's Monthly Report for December 2023. Total calls 135, coroner's cases 20, autopsies 4, toxicology 4, donations 2, fetal 2, hospice 61, referral 52, cremations 82, x-rays 2, COVID-19 1, 5 pending. Income summary report for the coroner for December 2023, total of $7,578.04. Circuit clerk cash book for month ending December 2023, total dispersed of $287,973.52. Recorder's monthly report for December 2023, disbursement fees paid to the county treasurer of $366,215.93. County clerk's monthly report for month ending December 2023, total of $32,780.84. Monthly resolution list for January 2024, total of the county of $14,742.32. Animal control monthly report for December 2023, total of $43,773. Total animals handled 69.
Alrighty, is there a motion to combine and approve? Mr. Miller, Ms. Turner with a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under consent, either of those two items need to be considered separately. Second time, motion to combine and approve, Mr. Hunter, second, Mr. Featherling. If you can get those read. Just the title.
Declaration of surplus equipment for the Kankakee County Coroner's Office and declaration and disposal of surplus vehicles for the Kankakee County Animal Control Department.
Alrighty, with roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Kirko. Mr. Eckhoff.
Aye.
Mr. Swanson.
Aye.
Mr. Featherling.
Aye.
Mr. Donnell. Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Kirkstra.
Aye.
Mr. Hunter. Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Alexander.
Aye.
Ms. Foster. Ms. Armour Earps. Mr. Ashcraft.
Aye.
Ms. Monday. Mr. Scanlon. Ms. Turner. Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to, let's see here, we have an executive session. We have to review executive session minutes, 5 ILCS 120/2C21. Is there a motion? Go into executive session. Ms. Monday, second, please. Mr. Carrico. Roll call, right? Yep.
Mr. Hess. Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes. Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico. Mr. Eckhoff. Mr. Swanson. Mr. Featherling. Mr. Donnell. Mr. Miller. Mr. Long. Mr. Kirkstra. Mr. Hunter. Mr. Hunter. Mr. Smith. Mr. Alexander. Ms. Foster. Ms. Armour Erps. Mr. Ashcraft. Ms. Monday. Mr. Scanlon. Ms. Turner. Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. Be just a second. Okay, we are back from executive session. Looks like we didn't lose any board members here. I think we got them all, okay? I'm looking for a motion on releasing executive session minutes. If somebody wants to state a motion, it'd be appreciated. Please, not all at once. Mr. Featherly.
I'd like to make that motion, but I think Mr. Rose is fine.
Is your, just for clarification, is your motion
to accept,
to approve releasing executive session minutes for the executive sessions involving planning, zoning, and agriculture of April 21st, 2021, highways and buildings meetings of April 4th, 2016, May 12th, 2016, and January 16th, 2020, an executive session, executive committee closed session minutes from February 26, 2020, September 23rd, 2020, December 21st, 2020, February 8th, 2022, and July 26, 2002. Is that your motion?
Thank you, Mr. Rowe.
Second for Mr. Hunter. So we're excluding June 22nd of 21 and July 30th of 2020 on your agenda, if that helps clarify for the record. Let's see, I think I can do a voice vote on this. All those in favor of releasing just those, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All righty, we have some openings.
One opening on the McGillivray Special Drainage District, one opening on the Keebury Area Fire Protection District, one opening on the BM Lewis Drainage District, one opening on the Moments Pembroke Union Drainage District number 1, one opening on the Kankakee County Public Building Commission, one opening on the Union Drainage District number 2, one opening on the Emergency Telephone System Board, one opening on the Kankakee County Board District 6, Republican, 3 openings on the Kankakee Animal Welfare Advisory Committee.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
We have a new business item. Mr. Wilson asked to have this on the agenda. It's something that's we needed to add another source for our CPACE program. Ben?
This is going to go long, maybe. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this is relatively straightforward. I just want to preface a little bit in talking about CPACE. Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy Program is something that we passed back, I think we executed the agreement in September of 2020 with the Illinois Energy Conservation Authority, not-for-profit. The ordinance you have in front of you is a very similar program to be run by the Illinois Finance Authority. Essentially, when you're creating another lender tool within the toolbox, it is required to have another ordinance package. So same tool, managed a little differently by IFA and IECA, so we then kind of have 2 offerings as it relates to that, but it allows us to satisfy some of the needs that we've been working with some companies on. We have a specific request for this tool versus the IECA tool. It's been kind of a tight time frame with us. We're trying to make some things happen so the company can hit their timelines, and we wanted to bring this forward. So certainly there's a lot of plates up in the air, as there are in many of these deals, but to kind of tie a bow around it, it's a program that we already have within our existing ordinance set. This would be a new ordinance that would be a companion document and would run very similarly to the existing program.
It basically provides just another funding source, because we're not the funding source. This is an eligible program between businesses and funding sources.
I guess
this is another avenue that may have better benefit in certain areas.
And to step back maybe one step from that, our current program requires us to float the note. So we would actually be the issuer of the bond. This program, because the Illinois Finance Authority is a body politic of the state of Illinois, would allow them to issue it. And so it does create some advantages for us where we wouldn't have to account for the 30-year note downstairs. So it could be a better tool managed by another state government, quasi-governmental entity. So yeah, it's a financing tool that a business would utilize to offset costs for
insulation, new windows, renovation projects, or new construction projects for eligible energy efficient projects. It allows them to get a little more flexible financing terms, but this program specifically allows the vendor to do that with the IFA and their subject bank, and it allows us to not be heavily involved in the work of it. We still will review it. In the ordinance, we list the clerk and the chairman of the county board, so that we would have a review process, making sure that all of the loans are something that we want to see the loans for that fit in the program. But we wouldn't have to carry the paper on it. We wouldn't have to ask the treasurer to collect the funds. It's actually run more like a conventional mortgage.
So we did ask state's attorneys, because of things being talked about, can we put it on the full board since we've already approved CPACE as a county? This is just another tool in that CPACE box. So they said yes at that point. So we do have that documentation of being a program. The first step was appropriate, coming straight to the board. And once they said it was okay, then Ben is up here. They say dancing for your dinner. Alrighty, is there a motion on that then to approve? Mr. Eckhoff, Mr. Miller? Let's do roll call vote, please.
I'm going to read the ordinance.
Oh, that might be helpful. Yeah.
An ordinance creating a PACE area and establishing the Illinois Finance Authority Property Assessed Clean Energy Program for record owners of property that, from time to time, may voluntarily request the levy of special assessments to secure the financing or refinancing of their PACE projects, authorizing program administrators to act thereunder, designating the Illinois Finance Authority as the sole issuer of bonds and notes, and approving related matters.
Okay. Thank you for that.
You're quite welcome.
That's why we make the big bucks. Alrighty, roll call, please.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico.
Aye.
Mr. Eckhoff.
Aye.
Mr. Swanson. It's gone. Mr. Featherling.
Aye.
Mr. Dunhill. Also gone. Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Kirkstra.
Aye.
Mr. Hunter. Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Alexander.
Aye.
Ms. Foster.
Aye.
Ms. Armour Earps. Mr. Ashcraft. Ms. Monday. Gone. Mr. Scanlon. Ms. Turner. Ms. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. Alrighty. I didn't have anything under new business, more like a heads up. The courthouse elevator is an issue. It's, believe it or not, it's the one thing that keeps me up at night thinking about. So I've got Wes working on it, but it's a 100-year-old elevator and we've got some problems. And this is not going to be cheap. It's going to be just the opposite of that. Extremely expensive, I think. So I'm letting everybody know, because Building and Grounds, I asked Wes, I believe it's an Otis elevator. Talk to both companies, Otis and Kone. Anybody else that'll refurbish. It's 100-year-old motor cables. So we're on it in case you hear of anything like that. I thought I'd tell the board all at once, because there's nothing worse that I can think of than being trapped on an elevator. Except maybe trapped on an elevator. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You know what I mean, though. I just can't imagine. I feel so bad for the employees there. But again, 100-year-old building, 100-year-old elevator, 100-year-old motor. It's not even a piston kind. It's the cables with the pulleys. I mean, it's like, Three Stooges. So anyway, that being said, now under new business, Mr. Snipes, you had new business?
Yeah, just for your information, for those of you all that's interested, they have the Kankakee Scholarship Black History ad book. Every ad is in color, and there's 70 ads up to up till tomorrow. And if you want a paper as to the directions, I have them. However, again, this is the scholarship program that they have every year that we give scholarships away. The program is this year the Black Experience, that's going to be totally at the high school on the 24th. From 1 to 8, and also on the combined church service that's going to be on that Sunday at February 25th. So if you want the color ad and you want the information, please feel free to see me, and I'll get you a copy of the give you a copy of the particulars. Thanks.
Kelly asked me to let everybody know that the last day to order the county apparel is February 16th. So if that website was opened back up again, so she asked me to let you know that. Let me think here. Any other new business?
Yes, I just wanted to say February the 16th is the last day you can have anyone to sign up for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Foundation scholarships. They've been in the schools. Mrs. Weber has taken them to the schools. They've been at the schools since October, November. So there's no excuse.
Gotcha.
Thank you, seniors.
Let's see here. And then under, I don't think I had anything else. Old business. I asked Eric to come up under because Mr. Featherling was asking about numbers had changed and he wanted a revote on the doubling of the taxes for the Goshen thing. Is that still accurate? No. Not yet? Okay. Because Eric had prepared how that valuation all works and everything. Yeah. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Eric, if you would like to describe a little bit about what we were talking about. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Before he starts on that, is the elevator going to be handled as an emergency situation? We're not going to have to worry about bringing it back to building and grounds or the board?
We are handling it, that situation. I would like to have an answer for building and grounds. Like, we've got to get both of them here. Without Wes here, I can't say what the schedule is, but on Friday I asked him to get everybody here with quickness, as they say. Like, we got to get all opinions on deck because it's unacceptable if you're in that place alone after 5:30.
Right.
I just, the other side of it is if the elevator doesn't work, then we have ADA issues. So there's a lot of problems here. Where do you have court cases? Then if it is, how long does it take to fix? Because you still got to go up and down, and I mean, seriously, it's a big deal. So yes, we are handling it like an emergency. Yeah. I'm sorry, was there somebody else before Mr. Hunter?
Anybody?
And anybody? Sorry. I think I heard a shot. Yes, sir.
Yeah, no point of order, right? Yeah, no problem. This is a private joke. No, I just want to just thank everybody as to how they comported themselves on the Eagle Island matter. So, we're in a democracy. Everybody's opinion is valued, and I just want to say, great. My daughter's visiting here from Bermuda, and she says, "Daddy, what time are you going to be home?" I said, "Hopefully before noon." So, so I just want to say thanks a lot, everybody.
Yes, I agree. The and Mr. Blair, I guess what John, you said something like numbers had changed, and you had a question about that.
The sale item, we had talked about all along, the 38 and the 42, and then ended up being the 150. My curiosity was, what is the actual amount of the real numbers of what it's going to end up being?
What is what going to be?
The tax abatement, what it'll actually be, because we had talked about it, it was not roughly $1 million now, and it was going to go roughly $2 million after the sale.
Well, you just said abatement. No, we doubled the taxes we're getting out of that building. You just said we're giving away money. Is that where they're getting this from?
Over a 30-year period, or however many years it is.
Eric, can you speak to that, please? We ran the calculations because just because somebody spent $150 million or whatever on a building doesn't mean it's worth $150 million.
Yeah.
So Eric, please.
Okay, so the first thing I want to state is, as you know, I am the supervisor of assessments, but I don't actually value the property. I'm not the first one to value it. It would be the township assessor. So we would want to, certainly have the Manteno township assessor weigh in on how she's going to treat the property. But, there's several comments here that I would have, which is, number one, placing the property at the value that it was paid for, just because that's what it was purchased for, is actually sales chasing, which is against the Illinois Constitution. So we can't really do that. And I wanted to describe quickly and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I wanted to describe quickly what a general idea of how the value should be calculated or could be calculated. There's multiple ways to do it, but one of the ways that you can do it is through the cost approach. So what we're looking at right now, what Goshen purchased was a vacant warehouse. And so if you use a cost manual, which are available, there are commercial cost manuals that will tell you per square foot what it costs to construct a building such as that. Then we want to certainly take into consideration the age of the property as it sits now, the age of the building. So you would build the structure new, depreciate it for age, and then add in the value of the land, and that's what the assessment would be for the property. Now, as far as getting to the $2 million level where anything would have to be abated, right now, currently, the assessment and taxes sit at about the taxes sit at about $1 million.
All districts.
Right.
All tax.
And so, by my view, it seems like the value of the property would need to roughly double before anything would have to be abated. And so what I guess what I'm cautioning is, with an existing building already sitting there, what would the new owners need to do in order to the real estate, not to the personal property of the structure or of the property? What would they need to do in order to necessitate a doubling of the assessment? And so what I'm saying is that I believe it's going to take a while for that to happen. That will not happen overnight. And that's kind of my general comment for today.
Right. There are no crystal balls, but if you were looking at the way things trend and work, it may not get there. It may get there, but it won't be there, like, I wouldn't say next year or the year after, because it's still a warehouse. You're not taxed on what's in it. So if they got billions of dollars of equipment in there, unless they're part of the structure, obviously, and I'm not, that's their job. That's not our job. Yeah. That's Lois Meyer's job. You know, she's going to assess that at whatever she assesses it, and then however that works, then it pushes it out to the rest of the community and taxing bodies. That's really the only way it goes up, in my opinion. So, any other questions? I wanted to get that out there because the numbers have changed, or I was misled, are troubling to me. And there was no misleading here. Chinese Battery Company was mentioned over and over and over and over and over again in the presentation and on the paperwork and in the private meetings with 2 or 3 board members saying this is coming and I just found out about it, and it's a Chinese battery company. I found out the name 2 days before everybody else did. This is when they had their event. So for people to say that leadership misled them, I take personal offense to that. I gave you everything. And how in the heck would I know more? It's unbelievable. They've done a really good job of splitting this board in half. You ever feel played?
Yeah.
So with that, is there any other, Mr. Eckhoff, I'd rather address, and I have to be honest, I don't remember what it was, but I think it was a heat of the moment. But I just would like to try to have board members not addressing each other. That never ends well. Does that make sense? And I was waiting for someone to do point of order because obviously my friend is verbose and enjoys to say why he votes the way he does. And I get that, okay? But it was going on. I needed a point of order to stop that in order to say we just need a yay or nay, please. I hope you guys understand. I need a point of order in order to be the chair. I just can't sit up here. Then I am what those people say I am, which is, as we learned today, this is not a bobblehead board. Maybe, just maybe, people here make up their own minds on stuff. And if they don't like a decision, they go a different direction. Right?
Yep.
That's always been the case, right?
You have to agree to disagree.
Has this ever been the case where we didn't have these types of discussions? So anyway, that's kind of where we're at. Yes, Mr. Eckhoff.
To your point, Mr. Chairman, and I want to go ahead and apologize for that. I was going to go ahead and take my comment to Mr. Hunter because I wanted to be respectful to him and say, thank you very much for your comments, but yay or nay at that point, and it is your call as the chair.
Yeah.
So I do want to go ahead and call that out.
I'm sorry. Just I did a poor job with keeping people from attacking each other over the past year.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go ahead and attack anybody. Like I
It was
told Steve, that's
unintentional.
not who
It
I
was
am. So,
unintentional. It's not.
You know,
So-
this is, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Folks, let me say this to you. This is an old dog. I've been doing this stuff for 50 years, and no offense taken.
Yeah.
And you had your constituents here, and you had to do what you had to do, and I understand that. So, and by you calling point of order and the chairman, no problem. I understand.
Yep.
So, somos amigos.
All right. Any other
Can I bring up
group hugs? Can I have a hug?
Can I bring up a point of order?
I don't think you can.
I don't think I can either.
Yeah, but go ahead. We'd like to hear it. Anyway.
Not now.
Not now. Okay. Sorry.
Make a motion to adjourn, I got a
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, it's a little too Hallmark for me.